This woman is Kangxi's favorite sister, her head covered with a cloth bag, body sprinkled with corpse ashes, looking to be buried alive.
If you disobey the decree, even when a piece of
This piece extinguished Xiao Zhuang with a group of palace maids. Hurriedly come eunuch, a look at the empress. Dowager came immediately changed mouth face minion damn.
Death begged the Empress Dowager to give the crime this girl how the release of her to me.
The eunuch, of course, did not dare to disobey the empress. Dowager immediately put Suma Ragu. Suma was saved after kneeling in front of Xiao Zhuang, while kowtowing and shouting mother-in-law.
Girl, you tell me the truth, you've had smallpox yourself?
Suma then, her bumpy gentleman, told Xiao Zhuang in detail.
Last year, my brother and I had smallpox together. My brother died. I have a hard life survived. People can only have smallpox once in their lives. Survived it for life. How can I bring a bad disease into the palace?
Xiao Zhuang picked up Suma, patted her head on the body of the corpse, ash-side glance at the unscrupulous acts like difficult to understand. The reality is that it is to clear Suma injustice.
This girl into the palace before the evil consort died, that Xuan Ye is how died.
Palace first smallpox, and then Suma, that the evil Pole naturally has nothing to do with her, Xiao Zhuang asked herself in public, is also in order to block the mouth of the crowd after all. Suma is Shun, under the decree to do Xiao Zhuang for no reason to save her, in order to avoid further trouble on the order, Wei Dongting take her out of the palace, but Suma does not want to leave.
My mother-in-law girl, do not shout. I am not your mother-in-law. I am the Empress Dowager Xiao Zhuang. But you really want to shout my mother-in-law. You can only shout my mother-in-law in the heart, in the mouth. Must not shout my mother-in-law. Otherwise I do not kill you. Someone will kill you, understand?
Suma just left. No evening. Xiao Zhuang is at the mercy of the weak in Xuan Ye.
Empress Dowager, there is a girl with herbs to enter the palace to save the third brother, has been kneeling for a day. What is her name? Palace guard said, called Sumaraku.
Xiao Zhuang was overjoyed immediately. Let people bring Suma in. Xiao Zhuang was wondering why you, a little girl, dare to break into the palace at night. So bold, Suma did not think so much. She only wanted to save Xuan Knight, to save her brother. She said with the basket, this medicine called extremely extreme grass can cure many maladies. Xiao Zhuang received the herbs, carefully examined up.
How can you tell?
When the cattle sick will go into the mountains to find it to eat all the illnesses disappear. Unbridled cattle eat things also dare to take into the palace.
Although the red consort speaks recklessly but also reasonable.
When the smallpox, the old man took it to make medicine.
Xiao Zhuang not blindly follow, not gullible. Quite some scientific evidence of the spirit of effective child concubines still in the mouth cannon. Taunting the little girl, Xiao Zhuang has begun to smell the close to 50% survival rate, worth a refutation of the very time when the extraordinary method to take the herb decoction. Not a moment later, the medicine is decocted. Xiao Zhuang called Suma to the front of the girl. Your own discretion well. If Xuan Knight did not eat your medicine, even if you hang that is sick to death, you are fine. If you eat your medicine or hang that is, you are going to die. That death cannot be one of you. Maybe 9 clans have to give you extinguished Suma, but also calm smallpox after the family died. Dead scattered, left me a girl egg. I am the whole clan Xiao Zhuang. Heard the mother-in-law, and you go out together. Then it let the child consort to Xuan Knight feeding medicine.
The Empress Xuan Ye has been unable to drink the medicine to pry open the mouth for me to pour into.
Xiao Zhuang, this old woman is simply too horrible, seems to save your life, in fact to kill and kill the heart, to completely dump the pot.
That precarious grass. How much is left to Chengqian Palace to send me to see which the evil consort is afraid of not?
The child consort is not happy to hear why save her. The emperor's soul, let her hooked. She died. We should be happy, right? Besides, she lived. My queen's position will not be no play. Xiao Zhuang looked at the child consort. You, this bowl of water is still shallow it.
Look at that, the emperor. If you know that we have this herb to save the Knight of Xuan, not save the evil consort, that the future of the emperor will not hate you when the consort...
The child consort is disliked, dumbfounded, is planning to send someone to send medicine, not...
You have to personally send it to the emperor's hand. You tell him that this precarious grass is exclusively for cattle to eat. Other, you do not have to say anything.
Much damage. Yu Shun is not love-hungry consort that cattle eat grass. You are willing to squeeze out to the beloved consort to eat. You do not want her to eat her dead. Then this is you personally cut off her way of life child consort in accordance with the instructions of Xiao Zhuang Baba to offer medicine to Shunji, one to Chengqian Palace. She was stunned. Rune scriptures hanging full house tomb. You chanting scriptures rise and fall. Evil consort alone in a high bed. Lying the emperor and monks cannot distinguish this. Where is the blessing for the evil consort is clearly in sending her return to the west. Our child consort with a few grass to Shunzi.
The empress asked my concubine to send medicine to the cattle herd to eat cattle eat after all the diseases disappear.
As expected by Xiao Zhuang, Shunji lost his temper again.
Go away from my practice of the law cannot be interrupted.
But 2 hours after taking medicine to save his life, Xuan Knight woke up feudal superstition, evil consort gone, just chanting prayers, scene change formation to overtake the dead, did not delay the work. Shunzi sat on the edge of the bed, as if 5 thunderstorms sad eyes are black. She was 7 years old, that reign only marriage misfortune Prince Doyle rolled on the power to do evil, should only be worthy of Prince Wu Kashan's daughter, Boer Qi Jin guards. After 6 palace grave bag, galley 3000 Shunzi favor only love this than she was older with 5 years old or second marriage, understand the evil consort and oppression of her, let everything become so ugly dirty, only the evil consort is beautiful now. The evil consort phase marriage. A brigade gave birth to 3 sessions outside of Shunzi, also like a dead heart. A monk on the side of the line are about to laugh out loud. Old Na from success is only 1 step away.
The Emperor has been broken. Injustice hope that please sorrow and self-respect, not I do not mourn. I have been the body and mind silent thousands of...
The monk continued to fool Shunzi with a happy face.
Evil consort immortal death of the Emperor has been broken off, so that the door of Buddha is open to the trouble. Jump out of the sea of suffering to the Buddha. Ah.
The monk said quite lightly, Shunzi, it is still a bit difficult to part with.
Your Majesty, please see that life is as short as the residual bamboo, and the earthly world is as bitter as the soup. Even if you are 1,000,000 years old, you cannot avoid the ashes.
Shunzi had the intention to Buddha Sony Group founder. Sony was the first to say no. He led a group of ministers wanted to see Shunzi, but was stopped by the guard Lu He outside the door. So,
Su Zhongtang, if you dare to cross the Yugi step Lu, he will have to enforce Lu.
Nido Heida.
The old minister with the previous emperor when your father was still just a slave in my house.
Lu, he also do not talk to you directly. Pick a yellow cloth. This is before breaking into the palace to see the loyalty.
Although Hyuk respects them, but still killed them no matter who broke into the palace. Lu Hyuk heart intention under the knife merciless.
Sony listened to also straight thumbs up, but...
Good.
You are hard stubble. I Sony is not a soft egg, said, since the top of the removal of wearing a knife whip to break into the palace to kill the demon monk Lu. He look at the right time to spin. Jump a shout old man, a glare knife a knife and whip. The Emperor wants to be a monk. Sony is anxious.
Your Majesty, you come out. Fu Lin, Aisin Joro Fu Lin, come out, Fu.
Even heard someone shouting his real name is also a shock. Sony also promptly adjusted the strategy.
Lin, did you hear that? You are the descendant of Aisin Jioro, the founding king of the Qing Dynasty. You remember the security of the world. How can you let that monk demonic words confuse the public? Fu Lin, you are 6 years old to ascend to the throne, The skin of the sword and the jade seat, 1,000 miles of diligent conquest, the elimination of 1,000 rebels, the light of the ancestors. Now where is your power of the tiger's heart? Where is your heroic spirit?
Hearing Sony's praise, it's the feeling of being moved, and the monk's sword, Shunji, is shaken.
Your Majesty, the Buddha is not in the mouth, not in the words Buddha in your heart sit. Your Majesty, have a heart to Buddha. Everything is Buddha. Once you lose your footing, 10,000 calamities are Your Majesty.
The monk said, and began a 360-degree stereo surround speech. Sony said, all earthly fame are the moon in the water and flowers in the mirror. He said, what dragon heart tiger, what heroic pride. In fact, he wants to tie you to the dragon chair for life through you to get their own fame strength. I am not it.
Your Majesty, the sea of suffering is boundless, turn back is the shore. Your Majesty, 1,000 years of spring and autumn is just a grain of dew sunrise to help the world. 10,000 years of land industry finally return to the earth, more like a flash of Buddha light at you. If you take another step forward is again a prisoner wearing a dragon robe. You in this heavy into the palace, a full 24 years off. It has not been enough off it, Your Majesty.
The monk is more and more mysterious, but does not seem to be useful. Shun lifted his legs and went to the door inside the monk, hysterical shouting outside the house. Sony, heartbreaking plea, unreasonable. Shun opened the room door around the dilemma. Sony see the Emperor came out directly into a sewing arch.
Your Majesty, I miss you so much.
Shun just want to go forward to mix with the monk in a smooth stop.
I understand your feelings. I will definitely give you a conclusion before sunrise tomorrow morning. Now, please go back. closed the door of the room.
Shunzi Sony already this thing still does not seem to understand the need to immediately go to his mother to find a solution. So it's Sony with a number of ministers to see Xiao Zhuang. Old Sony is really anxious. He told the Empress Dowager Xiao Zhuang something bad. The Emperor to become a monk. Xiao Zhuang are confused. What the thing?
The Emperor ignored politics, sleepless nights, and refused to see any of his ministers. He was a demon monk, taking advantage of the situation to enter, apparently for the reincarnation of the dead, but in fact is a traitor.
Your Majesty, you have abandoned the world and entered the empty gate.
However, Xiao Zhuang understood that he could focus on Shunzi's person, but not on Shunzi's heart, and since it was the monk who persuaded the Emperor to leave the monastery, we should let him persuade the Emperor to come back. We just need to find the monk's master, and let him persuade the Emperor to come back.